Hello, 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 everyone. It's Brenda Douglas, your self love and happiness coach, and it is time to recap and review Love and Marriage Huntsville. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to look at the show from a self love perspective. Okay, what is self love? Self love is when you love, honor, and value who you are unconditionally, okay? And it's evident in your words, in your actions, in your beliefs, right? Self love, it must be cultivated every single day. Why? Because life happens, okay? We all take hits, okay? So self love must be cultivated every single day. We must make a conscious effort to love on ourselves, okay? In this show, we're going to be looking at the actions, the beliefs, and the words and how they align with self-love or do not align with self-love, okay? Because listen, in order for us to to become better versions of ourselves, we must be truthful about who we are, okay? And we must develop the habit again of consciously becoming aware of our words and our actions, and again how they may or may not align with self-love. The honest truth is that your relationship with yourself sets the tone for every other relationship, okay? In short, self-love is about knowing who you are, loving who you are unconditionally, and then teaching the world how to treat you. Okay, so in this video, we are going to be discussing Season 3, Episode 4, Kim Possible Endeavors. And we can't forget the Cougar Tamer. What a name, what a nickname, the Cougar Tamer, okay? Anyway, just to give you a quick overview about Love and Marriage Huntsville. This show is about several high-powered African-American couples who are long-term friends and business partners. Yes. They attempted to mix business with pleasure. Anyway, so they are long-term friends and business partners. Now, when they pitched the show, and the initial goal was to revitalize the city of Huntsville, Alabama through a group called, a real estate group that is called the Comeback Group, well, at this point, either the group has broken up, or it is on pause. We shall see. But as of right now, the Comeback Group is not, okay? Because things went left in the previous seasons. So they're in the middle of filming, right? Excuse me. So they're in the middle of filming the show, and the side chick calls in. The side chick calls in while they're viewing. So needless to say, things blew up. Things got out of hand. Come to find out, the side chick had got pregnant. She was pregnant around the same time the wife was. Like, it was a big mess, and it was all public, guys. It was all public. The side chick kept calling. She's on social media. It was crazy on social media. So things went left, okay? And he had been, in this relationship with the side chick for 5 years, okay? Now, she had found out before that there was infidelity, but she thought they were past that. Nonetheless, it came out that he was still dealing with this girl, okay, this woman, okay? And then not only that, she was pregnant. So needless to say, tempers were flaring. It was crazy. And yes, as of today, Martell and Melody are divorced. So on this show, in this particular season, we see Melody and Martell co-parenting because they have 4 children. They have 4 children in their marriage, and so we see them co-parenting. And Martell has this personality where he blows up. You got to walk on eggshells. Like, he blows up. He has a bad temper. He sort of has a narcissist. He has narcissist tendencies, right? He's real selfish, self-centered, is all about him. And then, like I said, he has an explosive, or he's like a ticking time bomb. So on the show now, we see Martell and Melody co-parenting. And then we have Marceau and Tisha. Now, LaTisha is so whiny. She makes my skin crawl. I hate to say it, but she does. And I really, really hope to see her character, or I hope to see her evolved, especially now she has 2 master's degrees. Hopefully that'll build her confidence, and then I really hope to see her evolved into a wonderful I don't want to say character because this is reality, but I just really want to see her grow, and I just really want to see her prosper. Okay, so I really hope that she, comes around or something happens with her. But anyway, Maurice and Kimmy. Now this is a couple that has a blended family. Okay, he had a child from a previous marriage, and so did she. Okay, her son is an adult, Jaylin, and then his son they call him Master. Okay, and he's a teenager. So on this show, you see Kimmy and Maurice co-parenting with Kawa is the mother's name, and I don't remember what the husband's name, or if they even said her husband's name is now. So we see them co-parenting, okay? And then you have Tiffany and Louise. They are a new couple. They are new this season. So Tiffany's already making me she's already giving me bad vibes, to be honest, but we'll see how that plays out. And then they have friends of the show who comes in every now and then. You have LaTisha's mother, Wanda, who comes in, stirs up a bunch of mess. And then you have Destiny, who was once married when the show first started, but now her divorce has been final. She was going through a divorce the same time that Melody was. Okay, so but Destiny is still on the show. Okay, she's an entrepreneur. She's a single entrepreneur, and she's a single parent. Okay, so that's going to be interesting, and I really hope that they let them really flourish in those roles so that they can be a blessing to other people out here who may be going through that. There may be a single entrepreneur who's juggling being a single parent as well. So I really hope to see that them really horn on that and really kind of help them develop to be a blessing or contribution to society, what have you. But then you have Marceau's uncle and aunt who comes in. So they have friends and family who comes on the show every now and then to just kind of give it a bit of flair, or to just add something to the show. Okay, so that is an overview of Love and Marriage Huntsville. So the show starts with Marceau arriving in Houston, Texas, to meet up with his wife LaTisha, right? So they are in Houston to meet up with business partners and to introduce and get feedback about the chocolate in the bottle champagne that they just developed, right? So Marceau knocks on the hotel door, and Tisha opens the door dressed in this sexy black lingerie holding a glass of champagne, right? Now, he does tell her that she looks nice, right? He recognizes that she's dressed to impress, right? So he compliments her. But he appears to have absolutely no interest in being intimate with her, okay? He was not in the least bit aroused, okay, by her attire. It was crazy, guys. But he takes the glass of champagne and they sit on the bed together, and immediately his mind began going, and he began thinking about and expressing all the things that he needs to do and who he needs to see and where he needs to go and what needs to happen. Okay, that was the end of this whole intimacy thing. Guys, I would have been so embarrassed. I would have been so hurt, right? She was trying to set the mood for the intimacy, and he totally disregarded her gesture. He was just not interested. And as the song, as the B.B. King song goes, what the thrill is gone. That would have hurt me anyway. And that is a sign. That would have been a red flag, okay? Listen, the best thing that you can do for your mental and emotional well-being is to be completely honest with yourself about what you see and what you are dealing with. to be completely honest about the situation, okay? Listen, when the thrill is gone from a man, it is time to take action. Now, Marceau and Tisha had been married for over 12 years, okay? So I would imagine that every now and then things get a little dry. I would imagine that every now and then they need to do things to spice up their life. But when the thrill is gone like that, it is time to take action, okay? So the most important thing that you can do to show that you love yourself is to be honest about your situation. Kimmi and Maurice are having this husband and wife conversation, right? And so Kimmi asked Maurice, how do you feel about monster vaping? Right? Now, if you recall in the last episode, and I did do a recap on that, so you can check back on that video, but I did a recap on episode 3. So in episode 3, right, Tiffany was being introduced to the group. Remember, she's a new cast member, so she was being introduced to the group. And when she was being introduced to Kimmi, her response was, oh, wait, isn't Monster the one? No, Monster is her son. Isn't Monster the one who was vaping in the bathroom? Didn't they catch him vaping? Like, she said it like 3 times, right? And I guess my point is, so Kimmi was talking to Maurice about it. I guess she wondered if Maurice knew anything about it, you know? So she was like asking a question, trying to see if he knew about it. So she's like, so how do you feel about Monster vaping, right? And so Maurice wasn't surprised. Maurice did know about it. And so he immediately got agitated, right? He was agitated because he didn't agree with Tiffany's approach, right? Because he said that one conversation, right? That one conversation could put a stigma on Monster, okay? It paints a picture to people who don't know him. It paints a picture of Monster vaping, even though there's more to Monster than just vaping, right? So then what happens is he gets labeled, even though he's not a troubled child, right? He just vapes, okay? But I guess his point was that her mentioning that in front of a bunch of strangers, again, it paints the picture of who he is, even though they don't know Monster, okay? So listen, guys, it is not a good idea to share the worst about people, the worst information about people. Everybody has the good and bads, but excuse me, his point was don't just focus on the bad, okay? Okay, excuse me. And we all have a tendency to share things about people, especially when you don't work hard to not share other people's information. We all have to use discrepancy though, right? About what information we share, okay? Because we choose what we share, and what we choose paints a picture of the person for better or for worse, okay? People will draw assumptions about who the person is before they even meet them, okay? Excuse me, and I would dare to say that we all know someone like this, right? They have to be the first ones to share information. They have to be the first one to get the news out about someone, whether it's a mistake or not, okay? But one of the things I implore you to do is to not only share the negative, and actually I wouldn't even say share the negative. I don't like sharing other people's information. I'd rather you tell the news. So anyway, but people do what they do, okay? So so I guess the point is that, you know, just be careful and have discrepancy about what type of news or information you share, right? Because again, it paints the picture about who the person is, whether they know them or not. Okay, so Maurice mentioned that there's a thin line when you make a mistake and then you are labeled, which is why people must be careful about what they share, right? Kim advised her husband Maurice to carve out some time in his schedule to spend more time with his son Monster, especially since this is a critical time in Monster's life. Excuse me, I'm sorry guys, in Monster's life, right? Now, listen, I must say, excuse me. Now, I must say that I love the communication between this couple. I absolutely love it. this conversation between Maurice and Kimmy. Kimmy listened without interruption, and she gave him her advice about what worked. Now, let me first say something about this listen without interruption. That shows self-love for yourself and for the other person. It shows respect and it shows value. Okay, so she listened without interruption, and then she gave him advice when he was open to it. Okay, she expressed that she was not happy about finding out about monster vaping from a complete stranger, when in fact her husband knew about it and should have communicated with her, right? Now, what raised a red flag for me was when Kimmy said that she has come to accept that her husband only shares information with her on a need-to-know basis. Okay, she mentioned that she was used to her husband keeping information about his son from her. Now, I don't know about you, but that was a red flag. Okay, she also mentioned that despite the fact that her husband Maurice has told her that she's done a great job at raising her son and he's a success story, she feels like her input with him and his son and his parenting is not desired, wanted, or valued. Okay, to me, again, that is a red flag. Okay, why? Because that's your wife. She should be your best friend. She should be the one that you share anything with. Like, you shouldn't hold anything back. Okay, that's just my opinion. You guys can feel free to share your opinions in the comment, but I just think it's a red flag that Maurice needs to pay attention to. She expressed how she feels, and she's telling you that this is what we need to work on. And I think that again, this is an opportunity. Okay, when people tell you what makes them happy or not, they're communicating how they feel. It is an opportunity for you to make it right and work together so that your relationship or partnership or friendship can grow. The problem comes when they stop talking and they stop telling you how they feel, because then they veer off and their mind is going elsewhere and they're looking for other opportunities, or it could be that they just don't care anymore. Okay, that's when you need to be concerned. So when someone is telling you how they feel, again, that is an opportunity. Okay, note, it is important to communicate what you approve of and what you do not. Do not hold it inside. If you hold it inside, what happens is it builds up and you explode, or you go exploring elsewhere. Okay, so it is important to communicate what you feel, especially if you're in a relationship, okay, and what is not going well and how you can work together as a team. Okay, I also love the fact that Kimmy respects the boundaries. Okay, she doesn't force herself in the middle of their co-parenting situation. She doesn't speak on her husband's behalf as it pertains to, like, sometimes you have some wives who call the ex-husband or even the child and they speak on behalf of the husband. No, Kimmy respected the boundaries enough to not interfere. Okay, but she was there on the other side to comfort her husband and to help him to keep a clear head so that they can make rational decisions and be solution minded. Okay, you cannot be rational and emotional at the same time. Listen, you guys, feel free to tell me what you think in the conversation, but I was really surprised about these flags, these red flags that were coming up in this conversation with Kimmy and Maurice. All right, so meanwhile, back in Houston, LaTisha and Marceau, they meet up with Marceau's uncle and aunt to have dinner while they are in town, right? So the conversation is all about Scott Manor. For those of you who don't know about Scott Manor is 10 acres of land that was purchased for their family to build homes on. Okay, so that is the conversation. The land is being leveled now. Okay, so but they've had some weather difficulties or problems, inclement weather, and so it's taken a delay. Okay, so again, they're in Houston, so they decide to sit down with the aunt and the uncle to have dinner while they're in town, and the conversation is about the Scott Manor, right? So Marceau asks about the status. The uncle responds by saying that things are moving faster than they anticipated, although they've had some setbacks, a little bit of setbacks with the changes that Marceau and Tisha have made to the plans. Okay, so Marceau, he mentioned that he felt that there was some tension between he and the uncle the last time that they spoke, right? And I love that Marceau says that he doesn't like to have a partnership or be in any kind of relationship where there's tension. All right, okay. He doesn't like to be in relationships where one person feels slighted, right? And I thought that was pretty commendable that Marceau is all about fairness, right? And he's also willing to clear this air of this misunderstanding, right? So that they can move forward, right? So Marceau explains that what he expected was for his uncle to be accountable for his team member, okay? He explained that when he went to meet the uncle's team member, the person never showed up, and so he wanted the uncle to address the situation and to be accountable for this. His team. He's the leader, and so and honestly, I have to say that I respect my time, okay, and I expect other people to respect my time as well, okay. If we say let's meet at 9, then both of us need to be there at 9, okay, not 9:30, not 10 o'clock, not 11 o'clock. 9. If 9 is what we agree upon, then 9 is what it is, unless we change it. And if we need to reschedule, then we need to call in advance or earlier to do so, right? In enough time so that I'm not on my way to the destination, then you calling, okay? No, that should have happened a long time ago, okay? So I like the fact that so I just I guess Marceau wanted the dude to respect his time, okay? But the conversation ends with Marceau and LaTisha asking the uncle to build or to keep the building plans a secret from the others, okay? He doesn't want them, like, they all want to do their own thing, in other words. So he's saying keep the plans or the details of the plans a secret from Maurice and them, from the other family members. Now, again, for those of you who don't know what Scott Manor is, it is 10 acres of land that was purchased so that the Scott family can build homes on this land, which I think is so phenomenal. I think that is such an awesome idea, okay? I love how they are leaving a legacy that they can pass down from generation to generation. If they hold on to this land, family members will always have some place to go or some place to call home, okay? I think that is so phenomenal. And it's going to be interesting to see if Kimmi gets on board, right? Kimmi is really hesitant about living so close to some of them kinfolks. So that's going to be a sticky situation. That's going to be really, really interesting to see how it is, because I have to honestly say that if I was given that opportunity, and let's say my husband didn't get along with my family, and yet my family is going to build homes or have the opportunity to have homes built on these land, I don't know. It would be pretty hard for me to say no and not jump on board. It would be pretty hard, to turn down those barbecues, those family barbecues where everybody comes to the house. I used to dream about that too. Where everybody comes, outside, and, they probably have a playground out in the land for all the kids in between the houses. That is so, it would be hard for me to not jump on board. But we shall see, because Kimmi is really hesitant about being near them kinfolks, okay? The kinfolks from the other side of the tracks. So we shall see how this plays out. So now, Jaylin and Kimmi, walk through the doors of Jaylin's new, it looks like 2-level condo home, right? And Kimmi, who is from the DMV, and she is also a realtor, she shouts, "Welcome home," right? And so then they begin discussing some of the renovations that they're going to do, okay, together. And then she mentions that they, she advises him to look past the cosmetics, right? But she was telling him how they're going to do some of the labor together to pitch in so that they can cut down on the cost and stay within budget, right? Now, I thought it was interesting that Kimmi was telling Jaylin to not pay attention to the kitchen and the cosmetics, right? That actually made me wonder if this was Jaylin's first time seeing this property, right? It made me wonder if Kimmi could have possibly purchased that property for Jaylin, okay? And if she had, it's no big deal. It's her child. She can gift her with her house if she wants. But it was just that, what she said, don't pay attention to this. Again, it was almost like he had never, this was his first time seeing it. So I thought that was interesting. And that can go either way, whether or not she's being too controlling and he didn't get to choose, that can go a lot of ways. Or he could be just grateful that she did it, or they had a conversation or whatever. But it kind of seemed like this was his first time seeing the kitchen, because he kind of was like, whoa, when he walked in the kitchen. But anyway, I love how Kimmi said that she didn't want him to forget about his dreams while he's working these really long hours, okay? And if you remember correctly, a few seasons ago, they were talking about Jaylin getting his own place. So the time has come now. And so he has a place and she brings him there. And so, listen, I can't wait to see the end result, right? I love seeing before and after renovations. So they're going to do some renovations together, which I think is going to be cool. And I really hope they air that. I really hope they show mom and son working on this renovation project together. And then I hope that they show the end result of Jaylin's bachelor pad, actually. So I hope they show all of that, okay? But then they start having a mother and son conversation, right? Heart to heart. And so Jaylin begins to complain about working 6 to 7 days a week and really, really long hours. And it's understandable. Anybody that will wear anybody out, okay? And listen, although this situation and the experience and the title is a great start, listen, you have to be careful about working for some family, okay? Hate to say it, excuse me, but sometimes family treats you worse, okay? Him working 6 and 7 days a week and really, really long hours, that's enough to wear anyone out. So I hope they get on that, and I hope they stay on that, and I hope they make changes. And he mentioned that he could tell Tisha something and she gives him instructions. But then Marceau comes in and he changes it, or he contradicts what LaTisha says and gives some other instructions. So they're not having a meeting of the minds. They're not on the same, Tisha and Marceau are not on the same page when it comes to this, okay? So I hope, or I'm sure we're going to see some things as it pertains to that, things rolling out and how things will either get better or worse. But Jaylin continues to say that he blames him, he says that Marceau blames him for everything that goes wrong. And he says that he understands because he's the general manager. Now, I love how Jaylin takes responsibility for being in leadership. I love how he understands that leaders take more than their share of the blame. I love that. That is such a great leadership role. But then Kimmi responds by saying something that was pretty interesting. She says, although, excuse me, she says, I thought that they were setting you up for failure. Now, excuse me. I'm so sorry, guys. Hold on for a second. So she says, I thought that they were setting you up for failure, which That was an odd comment. I have to admit, I thought that was an off comment, but it was interesting because Jaylin didn't respond to it. He did not respond directly to that comment, though. Right? And really, I don't agree with that comment because, to be honest, it's an opportunity, okay? Jaylin did not have any experience. He was fresh out of college. It was an opportunity. It is an opportunity, okay? So I think that that is great that they're giving him this opportunity despite him not having any experience, okay? And I just believe that it is up to Jaylin to seize the opportunity and then take control of his professional development. That's just my opinion. You can, in the comments, feel free to leave your opinion, but Marceau could have said, well, you know, we tried and this didn't work out. You're saying you can't handle it. So you know what? We're going to bring someone else in. Thank you for being there for the grand opening. You tried. Have a nice day. But he's not. He's willing to work with Jaylin, which I think is commendable. Okay. Although I don't agree with the long hours. Everybody needs sleep. Everybody needs some time away, okay? And I just really hope that this doesn't get to be where this Blaque Lounge is Jaylin's whole life, okay? And he has no life outside. He's too young for that. I just believe that. So, Kimmi actually uses this, Mommy Kimmi, used this as an opportunity for a teachable moment, okay? And so she shares that everyone makes mistakes. And she shared that when she first started in her nursing career, she made a mistake, okay? And she made a mistake that it was a bad mistake, but it taught her lessons and it made her better today, okay? You know, that moment reminded me of one of my favorite quotes. And my favorite quote was, an expert was once a beginner. An expert at anything was once a beginner. That's it. And I love that because whenever I'm starting something new, I need to be reminded, I remind myself of that quote. An expert at anything was once a beginner, okay? So she advised her son to work harder on his communication skills with Marceau and Tisha, okay? So then they began to talk about this assistant manager who's coming into place soon. She'll be coming soon, okay? Which, that told me she was a female, but anyway, she'll be coming soon. Now, this assistant manager is going to train Jaylin, the manager. Now, that's kind of off to me. An assistant manager training a manager. And not only that, the assistant manager knew Jaylin when Jaylin was little. This is going to be really, really interesting, guys. So now that means the assistant manager is older than Jaylin. So that's going to be interesting for two different reasons. Number one, some folks don't like working for people who are younger than them. Okay. And number two, hopefully she won't try to keep Jaylin in the box. Okay. Hopefully she won't see Jaylin as that little boy that she once knew and try to keep him there, pigeonholed in the box, because sometimes it's hard to accept and respect that a child is now an adult, you know. So I really am going to I think this is going to be really, really interesting, but I really hope that she respects him as an adult and as her manager, okay? And listen, I love this mother and child moment. I love, these moments are so priceless to both the parent and the child, okay? They create moments that will last a lifetime. And this renovation project is going to make their bond stronger. So I am really, really excited about that, okay? And also listen, mother and son also talked about destiny. In the last episode, Kimmi mentioned that every time she said her son's name, Destiny would flicker her hair, you know, as if she, in a flirty way, I guess, if you will, okay? And listen, I always find it interesting that they are having this conversation, especially since seasons ago, Kimmi and Destiny weren't feeling each other. They weren't really liking each other from the jump, okay? They got off to a rocky start, and now they're fine with each other, okay? Here's what I need you to remember, though. Give people a chance. Give yourself a chance to get to know them and allow them to get to know you. Don't make the assumption about who they are or count them out before getting to know them, okay? They may hold the key to your blessing, okay? So anyway, Jaylin responds by saying that Destiny is beautiful, but she is not my type. Now, we all have a type. So I thought that was pretty interesting. He then shares that he has a reputation for being a cougar tamer. Now, let me just say, he didn't go into details about what that means or whether or not he's even been with an older woman, but Kimmi didn't think it was funny. And for those of you who don't know what a cougar is an older woman who likes younger men, okay? But seriously, I sort of wonder, if Destiny were to get with Jaylin, how would Kimmi feel about that? Oh my goodness, I wonder if they were to hook up, how would Kimmi feel? And I don't think Kimmi would like it. So the episode ends with Marceau and LaTisha meeting up with their Houston business partners to introduce themselves and to roll out the chocolate in a bottle champagne. Okay, so they're giving samples or they're letting people try it so that they can get feedback and should just introduce the champagne to the market. Okay, so the launch party was a great success. Okay, and it included celebrity guests such as nephew Tommy. He plays on Ready for Love, and I think his wife, I'm not sure if her name is Jacqueline, but he plays on Ready for Love. Nephew Tommy, his name is Tommy Miles, and that seems like a beautiful couple. But anyway, so nephew Tommy, he also plays on the Steve Harvey Morning Show. He's famous for his prank phone calls. So listen, they are hilarious. If you have not had a chance to hear them, you should go do a Google search or search on YouTube or even Facebook and listen to his prank phone calls. They are hilarious. He knows how to push some buttons, okay? Anyway, in the midst of this party, LaTisha had a little wifey insecure moment, is what I call it, okay? A little wifey insecure moment where somebody was watching her husband. I said, it's crazy. I was thinking that it's crazy how married women always assume that a single woman wants her man, even if they don't want him. Anyway, so LaTisha pulls him when he's close to the lady with the red dress. LaTisha sort of interrupts the moment and pulls him away and out onto the balcony, right? And she's like, yeah, I noticed that the lady with the red dress was eyeing you. She was checking you out, right? And then she did a little thing where she was like wiping her eye, almost like she was trying to catch a tear, right? In the midst of this event, you know, I could imagine that the energy was high and he was really, really excited. They were Houston was embracing them. So I can tell that he was probably, or I can imagine he was probably in the moment, right? But then he's got to pull to the side and get her straight, right? Seriously, LaTisha, a networking event is for you to network, okay? At the end of the day, he goes home with you, okay? And that's how it ended. The event was a great success, and now LaTisha can go home with her man and appreciate having him. Thanks for watching, guys.